Hello friends, this is Odds, and today's video is about the new Hillbilly rework and the new add-ons that have come with it. Overall, the rework is pretty good and feels amazing for Hillbilly players, but there are some new add-ons that are just really weird, practically useless, and the main point of this video is to tell you about them so that you don't waste your blood points or your time using them. Let's have a quick overlook at all of the add-ons from Hillbilly that are currently in the game. First, we have the engravings on low pro. They make the chainsaw go faster or break pallets and still get hits. Pretty good. Then we have the cooldown add-ons. These are really popular. You're going to see them a lot. It makes it easier to recover after missing a saw to transition into another saw or a normal hit. Very good. We then have the carburetor tuning, the tune carburetor. Makes you slower, but also makes your chainsaw ready up much faster, which is nice. Mangled and hemorrhage add-on, very typical. Turn rate makes it easier to navigate, very good. The two stealth add-ons that can make you have no turret radius and a silent chainsaw, a bit gimmicky, but they're fun. Then we have the bump recovery add-on so that you begin to move faster when you bump into something. Not bad, especially for beginners. Then we have two add-ons that make your overdrive happen a little bit faster and last a little bit longer. Overdrive is when your chainsaw becomes blue after using it for a while. With these add-ons, you get it a bit sooner and it lasts a bit longer before it goes away. Pretty good. Not incredibly high numbers or anything, but pretty nice. Now we get to the weird add-ons. The first one is called the counterweight. This add-on eliminates the curving part of Hillbilly. When you use your chainsaw with this add-on, you cannot turn quickly from side to side. This is obviously a massive nerf or downgrade. The only reason you would want this is if you really don't like curbing and want your chainsaw to go straight, and maybe you're a beginner and you're learning things one at a time. I guess there is someone out there that might find this add-on useful, but it's overall obviously really bad. The second one is the cracked primer bulb. And it's basically like a new speed limiter. It increases your overdrive generation, but it also makes your chainsaw only deal 1 damage, which is obviously horrible. But again, it's a bit of a meme, right? Meme add-on. We can look past it. It's not a big deal. But then we have these 4 add-ons. These 4 add-ons are really weird. They are the high-speed idler screw, the discarded air filter, the ragged engine, and the thermal casing. And they are all virtually useless. All of these add-ons have to do with the overdrive heat generation. So when you are using your chainsaw, you generate heat the more you use it, right? And if you don't fully generate it at all, and you're partially there, it takes you 15 seconds for that heat that you've generated to start going down, right? 15 seconds, it starts going down, and then it takes about 20 seconds for that heat to be lost passively. So these add-ons make those 15 seconds take longer, and they make that degeneration of heat take longer also by different values. But guess what? There's only one tiny problem. This is absolutely unnecessary. If you haven't used your entire saw and you're still not in overdrive, what you can do is use your chainsaw for half a second exactly, a little bit over half a second maybe, and then you build a little bit more heat, and then the 15-second timer is reset. So basically, if every now and then, during chase or outside of chase, you rep your chainsaw just a little bit, you make all of these add-ons completely useless because you reset the timer and it stops going down completely. So yeah, just do that. Just hold them two for half a second. You barely lose any distance. You can pretty much do it in chase as well, and it's not even a big deal. And then all of these add-ons, including a purple add-on, are completely useless. Very strange, but sadly, this isn't the first time the developers kind of fumbled the bag with add-ons. And this is not the only example of a killer that has add-ons that are pretty much either useless or compared to other add-ons, they are really bad. Now, one of my favorite examples of useless add-ons that do very little is the liquor tongue. This liquor tongue got buff at some point, but it's still useless. Basically, it increases the duration of hindered that survivors get when they are hit by the tentacle of Nemesis, when they're infected. And instead of lasting 0.25, with this add-on, it lasts 0.45. And if you do the math, you'll see that you will catch up to a survivor a little bit sooner because they lose 0.16 meters. That is 16 centimeters. That is 1/6 of a meter. They lose 1/6 of a meter if you go in a perfect straight line. Now, obviously, that's just math. Obviously, in game, it might be a bit different. But here's the crazy part. That doesn't even happen most of the times. Most of the times you hit a survivor, or at least many of the times you hit a survivor, they are at a window or vaulting a pallet. And during the animation, obviously, they don't move any faster. So those 0-20 seconds that this add-on adds, most of the times is completely wasted because the survivors are caught mid-animation. So yeah, this add-on literally, almost literally does nothing. But an even more depressing set of add-ons are the ones that just get completely outclassed by other different add-ons. So for example, Pyramid Head has a family of add-ons that increase his recovery. When he drags his sword, his power runs out, right? And then he gets it back so that he can drag his sword again. Well, there are 3 add-ons like this. I'm going to put the green one on screen because that's the one that has the biggest number. And if you have the green one, it saves you 4 seconds of getting your whole power back. You don't even need to get your whole power back to start using it. So it's not really that crazy, but I mean, 4 seconds is not bad, right? Well, no, actually it is. Because if you run the power duration add-ons, on top of having 2 seconds longer of duration, you also have faster recovery still. This is the infamous duration bug that we covered in a video a long time ago. This was corrected on the Spirit some time ago, but it hasn't been corrected on this killer yet, which is a little bit weird. So yeah, the Tablet of the Oppressor, which you see right there, is straight up a much better add-on than the Valtiel Sec photograph for no reason. So yeah, don't use any of the recovery add-ons. They all have the same problem. Oni, which is another killer that is actually fairly beloved and fairly strong, also has a similar problem. We have the Soak Tenogui, I think it's called. It's a really interesting add-on that when you down a survivor during power, it makes you lose less of your power. So normally when you hit a survivor, your power loses a little bit of it so that you can't go on a massive rampage, right? With this add-on, you will lose less and it will give you an equivalent of 4 seconds of power saved. So that means that if you down a survivor and then you down another survivor, you will have 8 extra seconds that you wouldn't have otherwise. Now, critically, if you grab a survivor in a locker or going into a pallet vault or something, this doesn't have any effect because that doesn't lose you power. So this add-on doesn't work then. But there's a problem. There's a little problem, okay? The duration add-ons just give you that extra duration anyway. So if you have the Lion Fang, you get 10 extra seconds no matter what. That means that if you get 2 downs with the Soak Tenogui and you save 8 seconds, that's still not as good as if you just have the Lion Fang, which just straight up gives you 10 seconds. And guess what? If you don't get any downs and you need just the speed to go around, the first add-on does nothing and the second add-on still gives you 10 seconds, which is super, super, super good. So yes, all of the add-ons that give you duration, there's multiple of them, all outclass the add-ons that reduce the penalty for taunting people. And the fact that the developers did not account for this blows my mind. But it's not the only example. We then have Wesker, another super popular, super beloved character that most people would agree is one of the better designed killers or most fun killers out there. He still has problems like this. He has a purple add-on. What is this called? I think it's the Red Herb. That increases the infection that happens when you grab a survivor with your power. That means that if you grab a survivor, it will take them about a minute to get fully infected. With this add-on, check it out, they will be infected 2 whole seconds faster. So instead of 61 seconds, you will take 59 seconds for full infection. This is not very good, especially when you compare it to a green add-on that would make this whole thing 21 seconds faster. So are you following me? The green add-on makes them infected 21 seconds faster compared to the purple one. Now, these add-ons don't do exactly the same thing. There's actually, I actually made a table to go through the different scenarios. But as you can see, the green add-on outclasses the purple one in almost every single scenario by a huge, huge margin. Why don't they realize this? Why don't they swap the rarity? Why don't they change the numbers? I don't know. Wesker also has another really interesting set of add-ons, right? So for example, when you use your power with Wesker, before you can use your second bound, it's like a little window, right? Where you can move and reposition. There is an add-on called the Loose Crank that makes you faster when you are repositioning yourself. But oddly enough, this add-on is actually worse than the Egg. So the Egg makes this window a little bit bigger. And indirectly, when it stretches the duration of this window, it also moves the speed curve, which means that you get to move faster for longer. That means that The loose crank has a very small effect at making you move faster, but even though the egg is not supposed to make you move faster, it does make you move faster, and it's actually greater than the loose crank. I'm going to show you a video right now of what this looks like. It's a little bit subtle, it's not super easy to see, but Wesker mains can absolutely tell the difference. With the egg, you do go around corners, and you round corners a little bit sooner, which is obviously kind of good, but also kind of weird that you use an add-on for something that another add-on is supposed to do, right? And just a couple more examples to drive the point home. The Knight, which already has a lot of issues with his add-ons, he has a particular add-on that is really, really strange. It's called the Tabbard, I think. I don't remember what it's called, but the point of this add-on, right, is that it makes your guard patrols a little bit longer. Your guards patrol, if you send them in an area, they will be there 12 seconds or 24 if it's the jailer. So this adds 8 seconds. So instead of 12, it's 20. And instead of 24, it's 32 seconds. Sounds really good. But if we go back in time, they actually buffed this add-on and it used to be worse. The worst add-on is probably better. That's crazy. But like the point of this add-on is to keep a guard in an area. And 2 seconds doesn't seem like a lot, or 6 seconds might not seem like a lot. But that's actually a bad thing. It's a bad playstyle for the Knight. Because the issue is that if you send out a guard to find someone and you fail, you mean you now have to wait out for that guard to be gone, and your power is gone for 12 or 24 seconds. And with this add-on, it actually takes longer. So the buff actually was a nerf to this add-on. It made an add-on that was bad even worse. Now, you could argue that maybe this could be a change that they did because they just want to facilitate the playstyle of just leaving a guard in an area. But my personal opinion, when I saw some of these changes, is that the developers must have seen that this add-on was really performing badly in the statistics. And they thought, well, and the reason why it performs badly is obviously because if you lose your power, now you don't have it for an even longer period of time. So they thought, well, this add-on is bad, so let's buff it a little bit. But by buffing it, they actually make it worse. And that is the problem we have. The point of this video, other than warn you about those useless add-ons on Hillbilly, is that the developers have very limited time, it seems, to look at the add-ons, to understand the qualitative issues of the add-ons, and instead they have to look at it quantitatively quickly and do tweaks that often backfire. We also have an example of this that was even worse on the Spirit. On the Spirit, we had the opposite problem, right? We had an add-on that was actually pretty damn strong because it allowed you to detect survivors around you, right? And this is huge because the Spirit is all about detection. So the developers must have thought that this add-on was too strong, and they reduced the range on it to make it a bit less powerful. But there's a problem. By reducing the range, it's now more accurate. So if you go right after the survivor and you detect the heartbeat, now the add-on is much, much better at pinpointing exactly where the survivor is. And this in turn makes it even stronger. So again, we have an example of what probably happened is that the developers thought, oh, we're gonna nerf the number, but actually in doing so made it the opposite. They made it stronger. So yeah, the saddest part is that at some time in the past, instead of making this video, I would have made a little write-up, a little post, a little paragraph, and I would have explained this to the devs, and I would have tried to argue for it, and I would have tried to give suggestions. But I still think that despite these things, the developers are simply too busy. They must be too busy making the new content or things that we are yet to see to give proper love to the already existing content that we have in the game. So instead of doing that and expecting any changes, I'm just going to share this with you for entertainment purposes. And yeah, I wish I had something more positive to end the video on, but that's it. Give some feedback to the developers, and maybe they'll realize that there are people that care about these things, and that some of these issues can be fixed really, really quickly if they are given a little bit of time and love. Thanks so much for watching.